That's right. Well, happy Monday, folks. Brian Nichols here on the Brian Nichols Show. Yeah, we made it. We made it almost halfway through the month already. I know, September. Where is time going? I don't know. We're going to have Jeremy Todd here in the show. Thankfully, he's here with us because we're doing another sales and marketing episode, but focusing today on sales in part four of our 2 months of going through empathy. Jeremy Todd, where is time gone? And welcome back to the program, my friend.
Thanks, Brian. It goes by fast, doesn't it? And now that football season's here, it's just going to speed up even more. We'll be at the Super Bowl before you know it, and it'll be 2022.
True. I was mad at my Cowboys because I stayed up until, midnight my time to watch them lose on basically by 4 points. They lost by 2 points, but I say 4 points because they should have lost by nothing because the kicker missed a extra field point and then an extra field goal. And just what are we doing? What? You're a kicker. You have one job, but I digress. So, by the way, who's your team?
In the NFL, I chose a couple years ago to be a Bears fan. My mom's from Chicago, but my allegiance lies with the University of Alabama. And so when Jalen Hurts throws that touchdown pass today to Devontae Smith, or when Tua throws I'll pull for any of those Bama boys on a team, and there's a lot of them. So that's pretty good. Which leads me to my hot take about your Cowboys. I genuinely believe that Amari Cooper is one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the league. You ever watch practice tape of that dude? It is insane. He is on a different level. And he's unfortunately been on the Cowboys for a while. But the Cowboys and the Raiders, right?
Dak Prescott
you never see it.
Dak Prescott, despite his injury last year, he has been playing out of his mind. So I'm excited. Let's get a healthy Dak Prescott.
Keep him healthy. Yeah.
But this isn't the Around the NFL podcast. We're here to talk about empathy in sales, Jeremy. So first and foremost, thank you for helping walk us through this journey, because this is an area that folks and let's just focus on libertarians right now for a hot sec. Sure. We are not good at starting out in an empathetic mindset. I don't know what it is about the libertarian identity, the philosophy, who the buyer persona is that ends up becoming a libertarian, but there's just something about us being hyper individualistic and also like this rational logic brain focused that we ignore empathy. So I think it's almost like we have to kind of go back to school, start from the building blocks and showing how to be kind of a functioning empathetic person first. And then we can start to focus on bringing the philosophy to the person, right? Showing that the solutions can solve their problems. That's all stuff down the road. But first, we have to show them that we care about who they are. So today, I know we wanted to wrap things up by talking about the expectancy theory, which I know...
Yeah, and behavior-based. But I can tell you what my theory is on why libertarians are this way, right?
You have an answer?
I think it's not only the hyper-individualism, it's that in order to exist in this world and be such a strong minority, you have to almost be that contrarian person. And contrarians are very comfortable with confrontation and conflict.
That's true.
That's where they live, right? So we are contrarians by nature. We are the people who buy, whatever is off trend, whatever we believe is different. Whatever everybody else is doing, we're going to do the opposite, even if it's worse. And so that is what contrarian by nature is. And contrarians are comfortable with confrontation. And so we seek out confrontation rather than conversation.
Yep. Oh, man. But if that's not the most true statement I've heard in a long time, because we see this, like, you have libertarians, they are on a mission to get in an argument so they can just put the skin on the wall. I won. I got my victory. It's like, okay, listen, we can go out rationalize, out logic people, out good idea people to death, but that only gets you to a certain extent. There comes a point where you have to say, okay, well, what's your goal here? Is your goal to be right? Or is your goal to actually move forward with some type of common ground or solution that, or at the very least, understanding that we don't have to have an agreement right now, but we don't have to hate each other. We don't have to fight. We can just live in harmony. Let's go into that type of mentality and foster those relationships. So let's go to the focus of today's episode, and that is expectancy theory. So Jeremy, we talked from beginning to end, talking about who people are, how they get to the decisions that they make, especially through who they are as their lived experiences, their emotional journeys. And today, I know we want to focus on really the why of people buy, right? The behavior of what makes people tick in terms of making the actual decision. So let's start off things. What is the expectancy theory, and why should we be focusing on it here in sales and politics?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we want to look at here with the third piece of empathy is individuals' behaviors, answering the question, why do they do what they do? And expectancy theory is something that I hope to explore. And if I ever write a book, it will be on some large scale research of expectancy theory. But what expectancy theory is it's a business motivational sort of equation process to why do people have motivation to take action on certain things and then not have motivation to take action on other things. And there's really three parts to the equation. The first part is about effort. So effort really answers the question. So, and we can use your field for this. I'll do that. Can I actually pick up a phone and dial numbers and talk and read this script about cybersecurity? So that's the first thing. Can I do those things? Do I have the capabilities, the tools, and skills to actually perform the job as expected? So that's effort. The second part is answering the question, well, if I put forward that effort, will it actually lead to the result I want, which is, in your case, scheduling appointments for account executives, right? And so if I make a certain number of calls, does that process actually work to reach the intended goal? And if I believe that it does, then I will be motivated. Just like if I believe I can do something, I'm motivated. The last one is reward, which means, okay, so I can do these things. It will yield the results and outcomes by doing these things. Do the rewards I get for it, are they worth it? Is it worth it to me? And so this would be your commission structure, your incentives, your daily sort of promotions, whatever. What's the word I'm looking for? The
like
small,
the KPIs.
Well, no. The like you get a
like a
$50 spiff.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. So are my spiffs worth it? Are my commission incentives worth it to actually do the work? If I perform at a higher level than a lower level, doesn't really matter. If the answer to all three of these things is yes, people will be naturally motivated to take action. If the answer to all three of these things or any one of these things is potentially no, their motivation to take action will go down. And that is, in essence, expectancy theory. Do we believe that that we can do this? If we do it, does it work? And if it works, do I get a benefit from it? If the answer to all three of those questions is yes, people will be motivated to take action.
So let's take this and let's apply it to why we have issues right now, right? So we see some of the most, I would say, the people out there you would identify as they could be the best messengers out there. I think of you have your keynote sales speakers who go around the world, going to different organizations, teaching how to have influential conversations, not just to, push a product, but actually to solve problems and build that long-term relationship. We have people out there who are in our buyer persona and vertical that we should be reaching out to, our target market, right? And we're not bringing them in because I think they see that the effort will not get them the results. Therefore, there is no reward. So why waste my time with the third party when I can go and I know that either the red team or the blue team's going to win? So I'm going to make basically a 50-50 bet and tie myself to one of these two teams. And hey, if I get elected, then I can maybe bring a little bit of my, myself to what the role is. But now you all of a sudden have to play politics on the playing field of that party platform that you are part of. So how can we make this greater libertarian party better in terms of showing it's not going to be, yes, it might have long-term intense effort up front, but it's going to give you the results, and that will give you a long time reward. In fact, in versus the alternative, which has just been what, 3%, 4%,
right? Yeah,
2%,
I
0.6%.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to answer this question. I've wanted to answer this question for months. Okay, so the reality, and this is where it fails, and I've talked to even Congressman Amash about this, that we need to redefine what these words mean to us. So number one, I think it's very easy to see that in the greater liberty world, we do not have faith in our effort alone. So you look around and you go, wow, a lot of these people don't even have the skill set to have effective conversations. And that's why we are doing what we're doing. That's why the Carnegie Caucus is starting, is so that we can bring the skill set to the table to teach people the nuts and bolts of how to be effective at conversations. That's the effort part that we're missing. We have never focused on training those skills, and it's time that we start. So that's number one. All right, so now we have people with those skills. We go out and we say, okay, will you be able to hit your targets? Well, there's another issue. What are the targets?
Yep.
Right? So far, our target has been, let's get ballot access in 50 states. Let's rate XYZ. Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
And here's the thing, right?
An uninspiring freaking message to get people excited to work for you. Like, we're going to get ballot access. Wow, really exciting. What else are you going to do? Like, you're going to sign petitions? We're going to sign petitions?
Yeah.
So exciting.
Those are absolutely not exciting. So this is where a couple different things have to be explained and redefined. So number one, this is where getting easy wins locally can give you something to celebrate and create that culture of winning. All right. Small wins beget big wins. And so that's why working locally is very important, and doing these things and finding and participating in winning local elections is very important, because now you can start. It's kind of like that first game of the year for a lot of football teams. Like when you've got a very young football team, you want them to kind of kick the crap out of a lower level team. And this is where we are, right?
I laugh because my team was so small. We were always that lower level team. So we would travel downstate to, like, the greater central New York area. So Syracuse area. And we would play, the D1 teams essentially relative to our like D14 team. And it was humbling because you didn't realize you could get beaten so badly. We've been doing that as a Libertarian Party for 45,
we have, right?
years.
So what we've got to do is do that to some local elections. We've got to go in there with with good candidates and win where we can win. And we need to put our resources strategically in those places rather than trying to divide those resources. Okay, that's number one. So we got to get some little wins. Then we have to redefine what wins are at our large scale things. Because again, I still believe we should be running presidential campaigns, governor campaigns, all of those things. But we have to redefine what success looks like when we are the team that's getting the crap kicked out of us. So if we are the team who's getting the crap kicked out of us and we're showing up in our performance is measured on if we win or not, it's always going to be a failure. But if our performance is instead measured on making gains, reaching milestones, that's different. So when you went down to play those bigger D1 teams, you scored, it was like, holy crap. Like, yes, we scored on them.
We could do this
also be a confidence builder.
One day, maybe again. In the future, possibly. Yeah, that's how we felt.
Yeah. We've got to redefine that. So on a national level, we have to talk about what 5% in a general election will do for the party. The Libertarian Party, if you guys don't know, if we reach 5% in a presidential election, a couple things happen. Number one, we receive all of our ballot access issues really kind of go away. We're classified as an official minor party. So for the first time in a very long time, we would have two major parties and one minor party. So 5% is a huge milestone because all the money we invest in ballot access and collecting signatures and doing all these things, guess what? That money is now untied from those activities. And so now we have funds to invest in things like marketing, advertising, candidate recruitment, all of these other things that really make a difference. But if we can't get to 5%, then we have to continue investing so much money in all of these other things. The second thing it does, yeah,
but Jeremy,
I know, right?
But Jeremy, hold on, because this is the objection you're going to get. So let's block this freaking thing before it even gets tossed. So, but Jeremy, how do we get people to vote for 5% of 5% of the vote for libertarians? Because it's so hard and it's so difficult because of the obstacles we face now. This is why it goes back to it's so important. It's so important to build that base and to win where we can win. Going back to your original point, if you have all of a sudden 15 Congress people who are libertarian, the argument of voting for a libertarian party on a national level for president gets a lot easier. So give people more ammunition to make the decision easier on their part, because going into the reason why people want to buy, right? What's going to actually move them to take the action? Well, if they're going to go vote for a different party, it is going to take a lot of effort because number one, that's a big change from what they're used to. And number two, they know that chances are the person they're going to vote for isn't going to win. So to number 2 point, are they going to get results? Probably not. But if we can show that there's a chance now that they can start to build up that base and actually get some results, then the third most important part, that now they can see a tangible reward. Now there's a definitive end goal, and it's not out of reach. So if you start a brand new company and you arbitrarily set your expectations that we're going to have $15 million in revenue this year. Okay. Where did you get that number? And how are you going to accomplish that? I don't know. We're going to get it though. Okay. Yeah. But that's great. But if you don't have a concrete way to get there, but also if you don't start to build up the base of the resources needed to get on that way to $15 million, then you're just going to constantly be having to restart every 4 years. And Jeremy, we see this every 4 years. It seems like we have to do a restart at the party. We have to get everything back. It's like the engine just starts to slowly die and it takes forever to get to go again. And by the time we get it going, the election ends. And then we start all over by, the middle of the election season, the next cycle. It's an exhausting and tiresome cycle.
It really is. It's extremely exhausting. And that's why you need to really focus on smaller, more achievable milestones along the way that can be that energizing success. So it's not we came in third in an election. It's we hit 5%. Now we're classified as a minor party for the first time ever. We get FEC funding like the two big parties. We don't have all of these other obstacles that are put in our way. So now our next milestone is let's win a state. Let's go get 8. Imagine this for a second. As close as these two elections have been, Wyoming only carries 2 electoral votes. Seems minor, right? But if we were to say win Wyoming, which, by the way, only takes about 80,000 votes to win the state of Wyoming, where shout out to Marshall Burt, right? We win Wyoming and get 2, and then the other 2 parties only get 269 and 269. For the first time, we have to send an election to the Senate to be decided. You want to really get people excited in the 2 major parties about ranked choice voting? Win a state, cause a tie, and let the Senate decide. People will be, the big 2 parties will all of a sudden be fired up about ranked choice voting, which they will say is, well, we could have ended up getting these libertarian votes in the end, but as we know, people are more likely to vote for us. But anyways, that's a fun strategy, neither here nor there. But the point is, we have to change what we talk about as our targets and our wins. That it is okay to pop the champagne in third place if we reach these milestones. And that's exactly what we need to do. Now, the reward comes in that each one of these milestones then gives us an opportunity to do some different things. So 5% is going to put a whole lot more money in the bank for us, which means we can start running ads on TV. Shout out to Spike Cohen for helping me get people fired up about an anti-mandate ad. But we can actually start doing these things that other parties do. And that in turn is the reward. It's a cycle that can kind of build on itself. And then the reward is, well, maybe we can poll at 15% and get somebody up on stage. We have to redefine what these targets are, and then what the rewards and payout are, so that we can continue to be motivated to take action. Because if our goal is win a major national election, and the reward is to pass sweeping reforms that give us all more liberty, I've got news for you. It's gonna be a failure. It's gonna be real ugly for a while, and people are gonna lose motivation and lose hope. But if we set smaller targets and smaller goals that we can accomplish, now instead of people feeling like we're never going to be able to make a difference, they go, oh man, we're coming. Look what's happening. You can see the growth, you can see the change, and you can see what's going on.
That wasn't a sigh, by the way, of me disagreeing with Jeremy. That's a sigh of, yes, like, please, and please elect this man to the LNC. Like, good God, because this is the stuff. It's common sense. If you come from a business world, especially, and you just see the inability to speak like a normal human being, it makes your skin crawl a little bit. Yeah. So going back to the reason that Jeremy wanted to do a conversation with you guys on empathy is because this has been one of the biggest issues that we have come across in the greater liberty world, and something we frankly we need to address, because if we didn't get better, if we didn't grow, then it was just going to constantly hold us back. And we have this running analogy, this running joke, working with libertarians is like herding cats. It is. Yeah. But like that's because we didn't have any sense of what our real obtainable goals are. And because we've never been able to get those minor little wins, nobody really has been able to say that works. That like, it's so scattered that it doesn't really feel like a cohesive movement. So let's start focusing on those real tangible wins, Jeremy. And let's do this as we wrap up our conversation over 8 weeks on empathy. What do you want to leave the audience with, Jeremy? Empathy, sales, liberty, politics. Floor is yours.
Yeah, let's do it all. So what this will be, what I hope you take away from it is, number one, a great story or anecdote to kind of do it. Yesterday, some absolute heroes, by the way, were out in a park that had been watered, by the way, maybe an hour before we showed up, and then we hit 108 that day. So I don't know about you, but if you remember those fall football practices where it rained earlier in the day and then it got hot in the afternoon, that's what it felt like all day, except it was 108. And no shade, except for the ones that we created in these tents. And for the End the Damn Wars rally here in Phoenix, man, shout out to everybody for coming out and participating. We had a counter protester.
That's what Lauren said. I talked to her today, and she said that you guys had one counter protester to ending the damn wars. How does that work? Can you explain that, please?
Neocons go neocon, man. John McCain was allowed to be on this earth for 70 plus years.
Senator,
so,
as your senator,
I know, right? Yeah. Hey, there's what's wild is at our airport here in Phoenix, there's a John McCain terminal, and then right next to it is a Barry Goldwater terminal. And I'm like, you couldn't be more in stark contrast. But that's neither here nor there. I like flying out of the Goldwater more. I'll just say that. So, anyways, what was interesting? Shows up with an Afghan flag, says anti-war, is pro-genocide, pro-Taliban. Obviously, has a very different opinion on things than we do. And I'm really happy to say that all the libertarians approached him, and Lauren will tell you, she went to him and was like, "Hey, thank you so much for being here. I'm really glad you're here. Can we get
Lauren
you anything?"
Lauren did tell me. She said those exact words.
He absolutely was mind-fucked. That is what empathy can do, is because when people are looking for a confrontation and you instead show appreciation to them for being willing to have a conversation, it completely offs their game. And then, like we talked about last week, reciprocity. So in conversations with individuals who disagree with you, and the goal in trying to sell them or be persuasive, number one, be grateful and be curious that you have that conversation with them. Always be seeking to understand their whys. So why do they value what they value? What perspective do they see it from? What emotional state are they in? And then why do they feel what they feel. Your goal is to understand why. Just listen, just be curious, always be patient, and do not, and this is very important, listen to everything before you are willing to put labels or pass judgment or even offer a solution. Let me give you an anecdote here on a company that did this. So there was a pharmaceutical company, and a lot of doctors and pharmacists at this company were very frustrated that single moms, or not single moms, but mothers with type 2 diabetes were not taking their nightly insulin injections. And they were trying to figure out, how do we get them to take their insulin injections? So they sent people to observe. And the mother is, getting the kids home, getting them to do their homework, cooking dinner, cleaning the house, and doing all these things. And they'd say, why aren't you taking your insulin injections? And they would say, well, it's hectic. And so the company would go, oh, well, we can do a solution for that. We can give you an app. We can set a buzzer on the packaging, whatever. But that didn't really answer the question why. It may seem like it did, but it didn't. And so they asked a little more, and they peeled that onion that we talk about so often. And what it really was is that the mothers would come forward and say, because it's type 2 diabetes we're talking about, when I have to give myself the shot, I feel broken. Please don't make me feel broken in front of my kids. And so the real solution wasn't bring more attention to it, which is what their original solution would have done. The real answer was, we need to find solutions so she doesn't have to inject in front of her children. And then they went forward with other solutions that helped solve that. And lo and behold, they were able to get mothers to take. It's really going deep and trying to understand why they believe what they believe beyond the surface area. Because when you create that foundation of caring, curiosity, and listening, now you can reach a point where you can reach them. But if you do not, and instead you choose to label them, judge them, and put them in that 10% that will never be reached, make sure you're not putting the other 90% in that 10% who you can never change their mind. Because a lot of people you can, but you have to be willing to care about them, find what matters to them, find out their whys. And that is what's most important to take away from empathy. This sets the foundation for persuasion.
And I will say, one of the themes that you just outlined there, I hope people picked up on it, it wasn't about you. It wasn't about you. It's not about you. That's right. It's always about the person you're talking to. And in this case, you have to show that you genuinely care. That is empathy. At the end of the day, showing you genuinely care, not just about the person, but how they got to where they are, who they are, based on those lived experiences, those emotional journeys. Jeremy, thank you, my friend, for this entire 8 weeks of teaching us about empathy. I know
you made me think of a pet peeve. Can I get it off my chest first? And this is the practical advice for people out there.
Do it.
Saying what libertarians believe is blank is not persuasion. It never has been. It never will be. Stop doing it. They do not explain the planks of the platform. Do not explain to them what a libertarian is unless they ask. Instead, listen to what they believe, why they believe it, and speak to these solutions that libertarians offer in the way that they care about it. All right. Don't explain to them what a libertarian is or what libertarians believe. That is stupid. That is frivolous. That is useless. Don't freaking do it. It's one of the worst things we've ever done for marketing. Libertarians believe that. I freaking hate those tweets and social media things. Anyways, that's a pet peeve of mine. Nobody gives a crap what libertarians believe. They want to know what you can do for them.
I definitely didn't have a presidential candidate who basically responded to the libertarian belief, the libertarian position. As libertarians, we believe. It's frustrating and to see that's been the status quo.
Let's change it.
But you know what? Here's the bright future. We always try to end the show in a positive direction. We're seeing the conversation change. We're seeing the way that people are approaching just not only the political process, but looking at how they're just talking to people. It's different. I'm seeing the changes in the conversations online.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing how people are approaching as really solutions-based sales folks. Like, trying to go in, enter into the conversations that people are currently having, not trying to just like go ahead and say, hey, let's talk about my issue. Nobody cares about your issue. People want to know that you care about them. So thank you, Jeremy, for showing us how to care about people. Also, and we're looking forward to this, we have you as our one-on-one mentor. So Yoda, please strap in sales, Yoda. We are looking forward to Tuesday and Thursday of this week for your sales shorts. But with that being said, folks, if you enjoyed the episode, please do me a favor. Go ahead and share the episode. And of course, when you do, make sure you go ahead and give yours truly a tag at B Nichols Liberty. Jeremy, where can they go ahead and find you if they want to continue the conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. At JTodd601 on Twitter, JTodd4LNC.com.
There it is. And of course, folks, as always, you click the link, click the artwork that is in the show notes. It will bring you right to the Brian Nichols Show page. You can find Jeremy's bio, links to his website where you can go ahead and support him and his venture for LNC. Yes, we are looking forward to having a direct path to the LNC. I'm so excited to have my evil diabolical plan of taking over the LNC slowly unfolding before my eyes. No, yes. I am evil Emperor Palpatine. No, I'm just teasing. Jeremy, thank you, my friend. It's always a blast. And with that being said, folks, thank you for joining us on our fun-filled sales episode. But with that being said, it's Brian Nichols signing off here on the Brian Nichols Show for Jeremy Todd. We'll see you tomorrow.